Okay, in this example, we've already been given the minimum, which is the same as the low, minimum Q1, median Q3, and maximum, which is the same as the high. So we've been given two lists. So what we want to do is compare these two lists, and it's kind of hard to tell just with the numbers how they can be compared. But we're going to make a box and whisker plot, and then it'll be much more clear um, what the difference is. So what we might be doing here is comparing two different bows. So for archery. So we've sent out some people to shoot at a target, and this is the number of times that they hit the target, right? So from really poor shooters to really good shooters, how many times do they hit the target with this bow, and how many times do they hit the target with this bow? Okay, so and we also might get the full list and come up with a mean, and the mean is just we add together all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. So you've done that before. Let's say the mean on this one is, I don't know, 32. Okay, so let's compare those. So when we make the box and whisker plots, when we do bow 1, the minimum is 20, Q1 is at 23, median 25, Q3 is at 27, and maximum at 30. So this is the box and whisker plots for bow 1, and then bow 2, you see it's 5, 10, 23, 30, and 45 is the maximum. So you can see pretty clearly now that bow 1 has a much tighter range, right? So if you're a really poor shooter, you still hit the target 20 times, but if you're a really good shooter, you still only hit the target 30 times. But bow 2 has a much wider range. If you're not a very good shooter, you're really missing the target a lot. But if you're a good shooter, you hit the target quite a bit. So out of 50 times, say a really good shooter can hit it 45 times. So what type of person would you say should use these two different bows? Well, in bow 2, if you're a really good shooter, you can get a lot more out of it, right? And then bow 1, if you're a poor shooter, even if you're really bad, you're still going to get pretty good results. So this might be for a novice, and this could be for an expert. Okay, so that's one of the things you can do with these box and whisker plots is use them for comparison. Now, what about the mean? So the mean can be different than the median. So the mean is a number that represents kind of the middle number, but the median also kind of represents the middle number. So why would they be different? Well, if we look at the list of numbers, so let's look at this as an example for the list for bow 2. So even though the minimum is 5 and the maximum is 45, you can see that 3 of the numbers were really close to 45, and 3 of the numbers were pretty much on the high end here, and the high end here, and the high end here. So it kind of shifts. If we add together all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers, you would see that the mean actually shifts higher than the median. Even though we look at the two middle numbers and take the mean of those, 26 and 20 would be 23, then it would be different. So that's kind of an example, and you look at that in the packet of why the mean and the median might be different. So you can also have it on the low end and shift it that way. Okay, so go ahead and do those in your packet.